Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
Hi, j-fallon, and thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope. So, Australia-Israel relations are at an all-time low. This probably started when our very wise, well, sarcasm, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the great and mighty Foreign Minister Penny Wong decided that they were going to recognise, stand up with France, Canada, the UK, and recognise a Palestinian state. Let's forget that Israel defends the land that was covenanted to her in 1917 and that the United Nations Assembly established in 1948. Let's forget that there's no expansionism or really racism on the part of Israel. They're just trying to defend their citizens. Or let's overlook the fact that the Palestinian goal, it's not actually to secure a homeland, but it's actually to drive out Israel altogether. That's really what they want. And as I was reading in another article, for the sake of mounting public opinion against Israel, the surrounding very, very, very well-resourced Arab nations have never offered refuge to the Palestinians. So we'll forget all of that and we'll just go along and say, oh, we need to have a two-state solution, and Israel completely to blame. They didn't start throwing the bombs. They didn't invade. They didn't kill all those people on that day in 2023, October 2023, but it's still Israel's fault. And so Australia has decided this is what they're going to do, and relations all-time low. So I just want to go through very quickly a couple of headlines. Ooh, and it's I'll actually bring them up. If you're watching this on video, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But I'll just describe it to you in case you're not. So first headline, Israeli MP's brazen move after visa ban. Okay, so obviously far right. I hate this whole far right and even far left and all that rubbish. It's just politicians. Far-right Israeli MP Simcha Rothman will speak to Australian audiences through a major virtual event via Zoom after his visa was cancelled by Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke. The Australian Jewish Association, AJA, said it would hold one large communal event that would allow Mr. Rothman to address the Jewish community via Zoom. I wonder whether our little media czar, our media, what's the name, Karen, that the one that's trying to get everyone banned from using the internet, supposedly stop teenagers from using YouTube and all this kind of thing. However, it's just going to really, what they're trying to introduce is an ID system for everyone in Australia. Anyway, I wonder if she'll get on board and try and ban this because, she seems to think that she can rule the internet. So in a statement shared on X, the AJA said it had arranged for Rothman to speak to many Australian synagogues, schools, and other Jewish organisations, and the revoking of his visa was the latest of many anti-Semitic attacks on the Australian Jewish community. The show will go on. The Jew haters will not win, shared on X. The Jewish community won't bow down to Tony Burke or Penny Wong. I'll go up to the next one, the next article that I wanted to talk about. Well, so Penny Wong, she's furious. So she's this article says Penny Wong in furious clash with Israel after the country retaliates over Australia's visa ban on Israeli politicians. So Foreign Minister Penny Wong accused Benjamin Netanyahu of isolating Israel. So they've isolated Israel themselves, apparently. So it's got nothing to do with all the nations making this proclamation and isolating Israel. It's all twisted. It's Israel's own fault. They've isolated Israel themselves. So she says they've isolated Israel after a diplomatic tit-for-tat intensifies overnight. On Monday, it was revealed that Australia had revoked the visa of far-right Israeli politician Rothman over provocative comments, including branding children in Gaza as enemies. In response, Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Saar said the visas of Australia's representatives to the Palestinian Authority had been revoked. He also instructed the Israel embassy in Canberra to carefully examine any official Australian visa application for entry into Israel. Senator Wong said the federal government had a right to safeguard communities and protect all Australians from hate and harm. Yes, our government loves to protect us for our safety. They're very kind. They're very thoughtful like that. At a time when dialogue and diplomacy are needed more than ever, the Netanyahu government is isolating Israel. It's all Israel's fault, she says, and undermining international efforts towards peace and a two-state solution. That's all they want is a two-state solution. Like I've said before, like many people have pointed out, these people that live in Gaza, West Bank, they've had opportunity before in history to have a two-state solution. It gets rejected because that's not what they really want, and they don't want to accept. Once they accept borders anyway, then that's it, realistically, for them. But that's not what they want. So next article, Israel kicks out Australian diplomats after visa row. So it's escalated diplomatic tensions with Australia on Monday as Foreign Minister Gideon Saar revoked residence permits for 3 Australian diplomats representing the Palestinian Authority. The Palestinian Authority. The people that are very happy when Hamas went and attacked all the innocent people in October of 2023. Very happy. Remember, a majority of Palestinians actually supported this attack. I think it was a good thing. And what do? We've got diplomats representing the Palestinian Authority. We are just a stupid nation. So we're talking about days, not weeks, a senior Israeli official emphasized regarding the departure timeline. Foreign Minister Gideon Saar announced on Monday the immediate revocation of residence permits for Australian representatives to the Palestinian Authority operating in Israel while implementing comprehensive screening procedures for all Australian visa applications. And this last article, I'll save this one to last because this is what Netanyahu says. Netanyahu slams Albanese as a weak politician who betrayed Israel. Can we write? I like saying weak and feckless all in one. I think that really sums it up a little better than just weak. Weak is just like, oh, he's weak, but weak and feckless really adds a bit of tang to it, I think. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has slammed Anthony Albanese as a weak and feckless, says j-fallon, weak politician who betrayed Israel and abandoned Australia's Jews. After the Labor government labelled the retaliatory expulsion of 2 Australian diplomats from the West Bank as unjustified and disappointing. Really, unjustified. How was it unjustified? You gone and said, oh, we're going to side with these other nations and we're going to acknowledge, we're going to push for this two-state solution no matter what. We're going to support the terrorists, is what our politicians are saying, and then they turn around and say, "Oh, it's unjustified, the expulsion of our diplomats." As the Australia-Israel relationship sinks to its lowest point since the foundation of the Jewish state 77 years ago, Netanyahu posted on social media, "History will remember Albanese for what he is: a weak politician who betrayed Israel and abandoned Australia's Jews." Earlier on Tuesday, the Albanese government lashed the expulsion of the Australian diplomats and said it would not resile from its decisions to recognise the state of Palestine and revoke the visa of a right-wing Israeli politician. Wow. Departmental papers showed the visa for Simcha Rothman was cancelled amid fears his visit could stir tensions in Australia's Muslim community. Tensions in Australia's Muslim community. Okay. Just to finish off this episode, I just want to read from firmisrael.org. And it says that if we think Israelis are the only ones in the line of fire in this conflict, we're deceived. The same spirit driving these animosities equally opposes Christians and Jews, and in time will eventually bring persecution to both. And in some parts of the world, persecution towards Christian is escalating extremely. So the scripture describes two witnesses in Revelation that will be put to death in Jerusalem at the very end of time. It's in Revelation 11. Generally, the two witnesses that have stood for the living God throughout history have been the Jews and the Christians. The presence of the entire Judeo-Christian ethic, values, and testimony is the most assailed spiritual testimony in today's world, and it is allowed to be persecuted with impunity. Too often we hear incidents where such witness exists and the violated rights or outright brutality finds only a silent response from the UN, the United Nations, or the world press. The hostilities and animosities are just as leveled at believers as they are at Israel, because there is a spirit of the world that is against all that is called God. 2 Thessalonians 2:4, and all things testifying to his existence, love, worth, and glory. We need to stand with Israel. And like I said, the writer said in this article, persecution is not going to just stop with Israel. Okay, it's also coming to the Christians. This animosity has been growing in the world today. And we see things like in Nigeria, Christians brutally killed, massacred, and yet the world press virtually nary speaks a word regarding the massacres. Sorry. We need to stand with Israel because God says he stands with Israel. And we cannot turn our backs on Israel, and we should not be so naive that it's just Israel that the world views with such animosity. And it's actually a spiritual battle. It's not just look at Israel because of the physical nation. This is a spiritual battle. And as the writer says, these animosities equally oppose Christians and Jews, and in time will eventually bring persecution to both. And I think that time's actually here anyway. Hey, this is all my opinion. Let me know what you think. If you disagree, that's fine. What do you think about Australia's stance with Israel and recognizing the two-state solution? Anyway, this is all my opinion. Like I said, my name is j-fallon. Let me know what you think. Thanks for your support. Go and check out my music if you get a chance. And thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope.
They just fuel the desire that will take me higher. I'm on fire because nothing's gonna